Hello and welcome to Galaxy TV's Primetime News. My name is Iribami Salako. We begin with headlines. Justice Binta Nyako of the Federal High Court in Abuja recuses herself from the trial of Nnamdi Kanu in the terrorism charges brought against her by the federal government. Plus on the news, Nigerian Senate suspends plenary in honor of late Senator Ifeanyi Ubah, who passed away during annual recess of the National Assembly. From the international scene, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says the war with Russia could end sooner than most people think. Details of those are not coming your way soon. To stay with us. Many thanks for joining us at this time. Now, details of the news. Justice Binta Nyako of the Federal High Court in Abuja has recused herself from the trial of the self-acclaimed leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, in the terrorism charges brought against him by the federal government. The judge on Tuesday opted out of the trial following the outburst of Kanu that he had no confidence and trust in the judge for justice. Correspondent Kunle reports that in the middle of Tuesday's proceedings, Kanu jumped up from the dock, shouted his lawyer Aloy Ejimakor down, and took over addressing the court. In the uproar that ensued, Kanu, after taking over the proceedings, announced that he no longer have confidence in Justice Binta Nyako and demanded that she recuse herself immediately. While Ejimakor was reluctant to sit down, Kanu repeatedly shouted on him to sit down, claiming it is an order. At this juncture, the thoroughly embarrassed Ejimakor took his seat in obedience to his client's order. Kanu, shouting on top of his voice, turned to the judge and informed her that he has no confidence of getting justice in the treasonable charges she is handling. The Biafra Nation agitator also turned to the federal government lawyer, Chief Adegboyega Awumolo's son, accusing him of doing the federal government's bidding against the law. Awumolo argued that Kanu's outburst in the open court was just an observation in the face of the Supreme Court order that he should be prosecuted in the remaining 7-count charges against him. In a brief remark, Justice Binta Nyako said that she would prefer another judge to handle the trial, the Supreme Court order notwithstanding. Kanu and his counsel, Aloy Ejimakor, spoke on the proceedings.
One denominator in all of this is for our client to get fair hearing. And if this fair hearing cannot be guaranteed in this court, then we need to try another court. The Constitution is very clear on this. Section 36 made it very clear that he deserves, as of right, the adequate facility to prepare for his defense. And who prepares him for his defense? His defense counsel. But we're not being given the opportunity. The court did make some order, and the consequences of that order would have resulted in getting him adequately prepared.
And in 9 charges leveled against me, this place where I committed this crime was London, United Kingdom. Yes. When my lawyers came to see me, I had a discussion with them about how I'm going to defend myself. I told them that no court in Nigeria has jurisdiction to try me. Because since this offense was committed in England, so they said, it's only a UK court that can give a Nigerian court the authority to proceed, isn't it?
Before Kanu's cut to the trial, the federal government had announced that it was ready to open its case against the defendant and that the required witnesses were in court. Awumolo's son asked the court to permit him to call his first witness and that the witness be shielded from public for security reasons. Nigeria has reaffirmed commitment to fostering stronger international partnership and deepening relations with member states of the Organization of African, Caribbean and Pacific States, or ACPS, on the sidelines of the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly. Vice President Kashim Shettima, who is representing President Bola Tinubu at the ongoing global event, stated this at a high-level OACPS meeting chaired by Angola. Reiterating the importance of solidarity among member states in the face of numerous global challenges, the Vice President emphasized Nigeria's commitment to the organization's goals while addressing pressing national concerns. He said Nigeria remains a principal partner of OACPS, championing its shared value of democracy, diaspora engagement and development. The VP reaffirmed Nigeria's support for OACPS initiatives, including the organization's focus on Haiti's ongoing crisis, while acknowledging Kenya's contribution of 400 troops to Haiti. He highlighted Nigeria's historical role in South-South cooperation. Earlier, the Secretary-General of OACPS, Judges Rubello Pinto Chikoti, lauded Nigeria as a nurturer of the OACPS and an important member state. Chikoti noted that the meeting aimed to strengthen cooperation with Nigeria and expressed gratitude for the country's significant contributions. Now to other stories. The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Olayemi Cardoso, has again blamed the monetary policies of his predecessor, Godwin Emefiele, for the current economic situation of the country. Cardoso stated this at a press briefing on Tuesday at the end of the 297th meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee (MPC) in Abuja. Cardoso announced the committee's decision to further raise the monetary policy rate (MPR), which measures interest rates by 50 basis points from 26.7% to 27.25%, to tighten the inflation rate, which stands at 32.15%. Emefiele was CBN governor from June 4, 2014 to June 9, 2023. After Emefiele's suspension, President Bola Tinubu appointed Cardoso as CBN chief in September 2023. Cardoso's appointment was immediately confirmed by the Senate. The MPC under Cardoso in the last year has raised the interest rate by 8.5% from 18.75% in September 2023 to 27.25% 12 months later. Under Cardoso, the Naira, which exchanged at around 700 Naira to a dollar in September 2020, now sells for over 1,600 Naira to a dollar.
Decided as follows. 1. Raise the MPR by 50 basis points to 27.25% from 26.75%. 2. Retain the asymmetric corridor around the MPR at plus 500 to minus 100 basis points.
Asked whether the monetary policies of the Apex Bank, including multiple interest rate hikes and the collapse of the foreign exchange windows, are working, considering the economic hardship Nigerians are facing, the CBN boss blamed his predecessor's policy for the monetary situations of the country. He said the country came into a very loose money supply situation between 2017 and 2023 and witnessed the pumping of liquidity into the system. According to him, in 2015, the money supply was about 19 trillion naira, and in 2023, it was 54 trillion naira, stressing that it was a huge increase, a very huge increase, and then a substantial amount of that was through ways and means.
The committee was, however, unanimous in recognizing that a lot more is required to actualize the bank's price stability mandate. The MPC noted that even though headline inflation trended downwards due to a moderation in food inflation, core inflation has remained elevated, driven primarily by rising energy prices.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Senate has suspended plenary in honor of late Senator Ifeanyi Ubah, who passed away during the annual recess of the National Assembly. The Red Chamber resumed its plenary sessions on Tuesday following the annual recess that began in late July. Correspondent Kunle Ojo reports the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, read several correspondence from President Bola Tinubu. The communications included a supplementary appropriation bill for the Federal Capital Territory Administration, the nomination of Justice Kudirat Kekere-Ekong for confirmation as the Chief Justice of Nigeria, and a request for the confirmation of commissioners for the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission.
Please note, may I now invite our distinguished colleagues to rise, observe a minute silence in honor of distinguished Senator Ifeanyi.
After the formalities, the lawmakers paid tribute to the late Senator Ifeanyi by observing a moment of silence. Senator Ubawi passed away in the late July 2024 at 52, represented the Anambra South Senatorial District, and chaired the Senate Committee on Petroleum Resources downstream. Following the tribute, the plenary session was adjourned to honor the late senator's legacy.
We remain resolute in our commitment to ensuring the development of our great nation. Very unfortunately, in the course of the break, this sad news of a very vibrant, distinguished colleague, a man who exuded so much candor.
You're still on to the news on Galaxy TV. Coming up next. Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun disburses 5.75 billion naira to the families of deceased police officers who lost their lives in service to their fatherland. Details of that are now coming after the break. Do stay with us. We are glad to have you back. Now, for more updates and latest news, please visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Connect with us on our X handle at Galaxy TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Galaxy TV News. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Galaxy TV. Remember to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Galaxy TV. You can also avail our eyewitness feature via WhatsApp. If you have breaking news around you, simply share your story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0818 6666 669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate you live updates and comment, as you can easily scan our IG QR code. As with matters from the National Assembly, President Bola Tinubu has submitted a request to the National Assembly for an additional supplementary budget proposal for the Federal Capital Territory Administration. The request was conveyed in a letter read on the House floor by Speaker Abbas Tajuddin. The President noted that the supplementary budget proposal was developed based on the FCTA's revised revenue and expenditure projections, aligning with the fiscal and developmental policies of the federal government and the renewed hope agenda. President Tinubu emphasized that the proposal would allow the FCTA to continue prioritizing human capital development and infrastructural improvement within the Federal Capital Territory.
This supplementary budget proposal has been prepared on the basis of the FCT's reviewed revenue and expenditure forecast and is aligned with the fiscal and developmental policies of the federal government and the renewed hope agenda. With it, the FCTA continues to prioritize improvement of human capital and infrastructure within the Federal Capital Territory.
Meanwhile, after more than 2 months of recess, members of the House of Representatives have returned to Abuja to resume full legislative duties. The lawmakers initially went on recess on July 23rd with plans to return on September 17, but extended their break by a week. However, the House suspended its plenary in honor of the late Senator Ifeanyi Ubah, who passed on during the recess. The suspension follows the National Assembly's tradition of postponing its first session after the death of a federal lawmaker. Plenary will now resume on Wednesday, September 25, 2024. Ripples surrounding pricing and distribution of locally refined fuel has remained a mystery to Nigerians. This development has also dashed their hope of getting petroleum products with ease and at moderate prices. Galaxy News correspondent Lebi Joseph takes a look at this scenario in this report.
Fuel scarcity is one major issue that bothers the people of Nigeria because the time they spend looking for fuel is basically not productive. The offtake of the local refinery brought a succor because there's the belief that scarcity and high cost should be a thing of the past. But the game at play recently about the pricing and distribution of the product has dashed such hope.
You cannot tie NNPC to Dangote because NNPC, from the PIB bills and all the rules and regulations and the constitution that guides the corporate world in Nigeria, Dangote should be left to a free market space, without trying to couch him into dealing directly and selling directly only to NNPC.
Everything in context, the context being that, first of all, we're the 6th largest oil-producing country within OPEC. That's one context. So we produce crude. How is it that a crude oil-producing nation imports refined products, refined petroleum products, imports crude oil? I mean, that is as crazy as it is. So we import petrol, but we also import crude to refine petrol.
The inability of the government, NNPCL, and independent marketers to agree on market price for locally refined petroleum is not healthy for the people who are the potential consumers, and it's expected of the National Assembly to come up with a political solution to this issue as true representatives of the people.
The National Assembly is a very strong and powerful institution that has direct influence over government policy, on the executive side of the divide. In Nigeria, it's a slightly different ball game, in the sense that the National Assembly does have that power legally and constitutionally to influence how the executive acts, but unfortunately they're compromised. They are unable to wield and deploy that power for the good of the people.
The National Assembly should go in and protect the Constitution. In protecting the Constitution, if they need to pass any other law to make sure that Dangote runs his course as a private enterprise and NNPC runs its own business as a private enterprise and government runs as government, then I think things will be much, much clearer and better. However, in trying to do that, the National Assembly also has to protect the people.
As the National Assembly resumes for legislative matters, providing solutions to the problems around availability and pricing of petroleum should be accorded priority. From Lagos, this is Lebi Joseph reporting for Galaxy TV News.
Now to the story teased earlier, the Inspector General of Police Kayode Ekbetoko on Tuesday disbursed 5.75 billion naira to the families of deceased police officers who lost their lives in service to their fatherland. While presenting the checks to the families of the deceased in Abuja, Ekbetoko explained that the disbursement covered outstanding payments from various insurance policies spanning 2018 to 2024. Correspondent Kalujo reports that these include the Group Life Assurance, Group Personnel Accident Insurance, the IGP Family Welfare Scheme, and the Group Life Assurance Death Benefit arrears.
As part of our commitment to the welfare of the families of our deceased officers, the Group Life Assurance Scheme and the IGP Family Welfare Scheme were created to provide welfare support and financial succor to the families of our deceased officers. We know that no amount of money can replace the loss of a loved one. These schemes, however, aim at offering some relief and helping the families cope with their grief and the challenges they face.
The police chief further noted that prior to this event, checks totaling 9.85 billion naira had been presented to 3,077 families of deceased officers across 6 ceremonies between July 2023 and June 2024. With this 7th presentation, the Nigerian Police Force has now disbursed a total of 15.6 billion naira to 5,225 families and next of kin, marking the largest sum ever distributed to the families of fallen officers.
Prior to today's event, we have presented checks totaling 9,851,847,889 naira 88 kobo to 3,077 families and next of kin of our departed colleagues at 6 separate presentation ceremonies between July 2023 and June 2024.
This great achievement is made possible as a result of the total commitment of the Inspector General of Police to the welfare and overall well-being of all the officers and men of the Nigerian Police Force. As the Inspector General of Police presents these checks to the family of our deceased officers and men, we understand that no amount of compensation can replace the love and presence of your loved ones. But we hope that this gesture will provide some comfort and support during this difficult time.
I appreciate what you people did to us, and we pray that you will continue to do to others as you did to us. And we pray that this check be given to us to support our children. We pray that God will help us to go to train our children with this check.
The Nigerian Army has refuted allegations of sexual harassment leveled against Colonel I.B. Abdul Karim by ex-private Ruth Ogunleye and other personnel of the Army Medical Corps, Lagos, after thorough investigations. It will be recalled that earlier this year, a female Army personnel, Ogunleye Ruth, cried out for help over alleged sexual abuse by a superior officer through our social media platforms. Director Army Public Relations Major General Onyema Nwachukwu, who made the denial while addressing journalists in Abuja on Tuesday, disclosed that ex-private Ruth Ogunleye had been recommended for discharge on medical grounds since 2022, but the Nigerian Army, being sympathetic to her, thought it wise to give her the best medical treatment possible, stabilize her before discharging her into the wider society. It therefore noted that her act of defamation is due to mental health issues, which was confirmed at the National Hospital in Abuja. The DPR revealed that the investigation was conducted in line with established protocol, with every effort made to ensure a fair and impartial process. He stated that the findings were definitive and based on objective evaluation of available information. The army spokesman maintained that Colonel Abdul Karim is a disciplined, regimented and firm officer who has upheld the values of the Nigerian army throughout his service.
The investigation was conducted in line with established protocols, with every effort made to ensure a fair and impartial process. It is crucial to assert that the Nigerian army, in its bid to ensure justice and transparency, conducted an exhaustive review of the facts, testimonies, and evidence presented. The investigation concluded that Colonel I.B. Abdul Karim did not commit the offense of sexual harassment as alleged by ex-Private Ruth Ogunleye.
Still on security-related matters, authorities of the Nigerian Navy ship NNS Delta have continued with its aerial and waterways patrol to support the Nigerian police in line with its post-election operation. The essence is to ensure that aggrieved persons do not have access or destroy critical oil installations between the Delta and Edo communities. The air surveillance exercise, which commenced from the Warri North and South waterways, also led to the deployment of over 10 gunboats patrolling the creeks and ensuring residents go about their normal businesses. Commander of the NNS Delta, Commodore Abba Moshin, will deploy the helicopter and gunboats to the Benin waterways and airspace, said it is part of their responsibility to be on guard as they protect Nigeria's assets. It will be recalled that operation of the Nigerian Navy had embarked on a pre-election air and sea surveillance days before the Edo election to prevent criminal elements from infiltrating the state, while the post-election exercise is to intensify the support for the Nigerian police, who are also in the show force on land. Still in matters from Edo State, 6 suspects were arrested across Edo State during the just concluded governorship election in the state. These were the words of the Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of the election, DIG Frank Mba, while briefing journalists at the State Police Headquarters in Benin City, the state capital. Correspondent Dele Fasson has more in this report.
DIG Frank Mba, while addressing newsmen at the Edo Police Command Headquarters, said 6 suspects have so far been arrested while arms and illegally acquired beavers machines were recovered.
We have a total of 6 arrests. That's the summary. We expect this number to shoot up in the course of investigations. We also recovered a total number of 4 weapons of different makes, a total number of 58 voters' cards that were in unlawful possession of a suspect were recovered. Some stolen or illicitly acquired beavers machines were equally recovered.
Speaking further, he said confidence building patrol is ongoing to protect critical infrastructures in Edo State.
We are commencing massive patrols of the state. We are putting in place a strategy that will give rise to high visibility policing. We'll be conducting confidence building patrols, show of force, and the protection of all critical assets of the state.
It will be recalled that DIG Frank Mba had led policemen to various polling units in Oredo South during Saturday's governorship election. From Edo State, Dele Fasson reporting for Galaxy TV News.
Still on security, Ondo State Security Network, codenamed Amotekun Corps, has arrested 27 suspected criminals, including 3 young farmers who kidnapped a traveler. the three farmers nabbed for kidnapping are Obanubi Mitayo, 19 years, Ogundele Ojo, 20 years. Parading the suspects, the state commander of Amotekun Corps, Akogwa Adetunji Adeleye, said the three kidnappers, who claimed to be farmers, were apprehended in the forest around the town of Ikakumo, Akoko, Kogi, Edo State access. According to Akogwa Adeleye, a notorious Okada snatcher named Michael Ojo was apprehended in Owakoko areas for stealing many motorcycles and sold at a ridiculous amount, ranging from 30,000 naira and 50,000 naira. The Amotekun commander also paraded armed robbers who specialized in looting mattress shops.
The last parade we did, we arrested one of the major members of a syndicate that specializes in killing Okada riders, robbing them, and some of them were at large. We went as far as to Kogi and Edo before we were able to track and arrest the Michael Ojo. It is the activity of the Amotekun Rangers that yielded all these criminals that were picked in the border towns between Edo, Ondo, Kogi. And because they are domiciled right in the forests there.
Now to other stories, the federal government's commitment towards mortgage refinancing and women empowerment received the support of the United States Chamber of Commerce with the commitment of about $320 million. This move made Nigeria's participation record the first success at the 79th session of the ongoing United Nations General Assembly. At the U.S.-Nigeria Executive Business Roundtable hosted by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, Nisha Biswal of the American International Development Finance Corporation announced that with a portfolio of $1 billion, it was investing $200 million in mortgage refinancing in Nigeria. The sum of $100 million has been earmarked for FCMB to finance SMEs in Nigeria, with particular interest in women empowerment. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce also announced that $20 million has been approved for a firm, Robust International, for processing of cashew nuts in Nigeria. You're still on to the news on Galaxy TV. Let's go on a break. When we come back, the news continues. We are glad to have you back. Now moving on with the stories. The president of the Nigerian Medical Association is urging the federal government to implement policies that will enhance the living standard of medical doctors in the country. Professor Audu Bala made this appeal in Port Harcourt during the 18th National Annual Scientific Conference and All Fellows Congress, as well as the 42nd Postgraduate Convocation Ceremony. Professor Bala highlighted that medical doctors are leaving the country daily due to poor working conditions, inadequate welfare packages, and the escalating insecurity across the nation. He further emphasized that these challenges are discouraging young professionals from pursuing medical careers in Nigeria.
We are going through difficult times. We've just recovered from the pandemic, and then we're having economic challenges. So what we have been looking at throughout this week is how we can make sure that we're making progress, that we are pushing the frontiers, that we're not hindered by the jackpot syndrome in quote. How do we cope? How do we make the best of it? So why that was an aspect of it, that wasn't the whole team, was a broader concept we were looking at. If you look at the the program, you see that there were so many issues that we discussed.
On her part, the National President, Medical Women Association of Nigeria, Professor Rosemary Ogo, called on the federal government to take all necessary actions to improve the welfare and living conditions of medical doctors in the country.
Because this is my country and I love my country and we must build the country. However, the truth is that it is now really compelling to want to japa because you don't have jobs, you don't have job satisfaction, the remuneration is poor. I can't buy a ticket with my salary anymore. Before I could go for conferences, every 3 months you could go for a conference. It's from your own pocket. You can't even dream of that now.
Speaking earlier, President, National Postgraduate Medical College of Nigeria, Dr. Peter Ndidi, attributed the development partly to economic realities and the worsening issues of brain drain bedeviling the health sector.
Working very closely with the coordinating Minister of Health and Social Services, Professor Muhammad Ali Pate, and the Minister of State for Health, Professor Alausa, we believe they are truly committed to the implementation of all the things that make sure that Nigerian doctors remain behind, and we are working side by side with them. We are having series of meetings to develop packages that would ensure that the quality of healthcare in our facilities are the best, and as well as to develop welfare packages that will ensure that doctors who are responsible for delivering this healthcare are also made comfortably enough for them to remain behind and deliver this quality of care.
Worried by the threat of flood and the looming effect on the residents of Rivers State, the 27 lawmakers loyal to the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike have called on the National Emergency Management Agency NEMA to ensure that the state is included in their flood response plan. The pro-Wike lawmakers during the Assembly's 47th legislative session also made this call to other relevant government agencies. The motion was introduced by the Deputy Speaker, Right Honorable Dunel Malo, who emphasized that the expected flooding is based on information from the Republic of Cameroon. During the discussions, members expressed strong solidarity in favor of the motion, highlighting the urgent need to inform their constituents about the impending flood.
13 local governments in Rivers State will be at risk of flood. Prayer 1, that the House will mandate the Committee on Environment to engage NEMA and ensure that Rivers State is not left out in their current response plan on the issue of flood. 2, that the House do mandate the House Committee on Environment to engage Rivers people and government at all levels on the impending flood and their preparedness on the issue of flood, sir.
She was saying that the thing has already reached their place and she doesn't even know where to go. Where will she go? Then when the other man said that they have already moved, but the problem is that where will they go? So they are asking government to come to their place.
In my constituency, places like Sangama, Edamakola, and Soku, we are adversely affected by the last year, the year before last year flood, because we are ill prepared.
Addressing the motion's provisions, Speaker Right Honorable Martin Ameule confirmed that the motion's intentions are well-founded. He said the objective is to ensure that adequate measures are taken to mitigate the effects of the impending disaster and provide necessary assistance to affected persons.
Areas of this motion are quite constructive and direct to the point. So, honorable members, in view of the debate this morning, honorable members are in tune with the prayers of this motion. The addition to the motion relying on prayer 3, I've merged these additions as prayer 3.
Meanwhile, Benue residents have been called to create a healthy environment and imbibe a culture of safe water, sanitation and hygiene practices. Governor Hyacinth Thalia made the call on Tuesday while being represented by his Water Resources Commissioner in Otukpo during the celebration of open defecation-free status of Oyemi and other local government areas. The Water Resources Commissioner, Honorable Oguodo, said securing open defecation-free status for the 2 local government areas was a significant milestone and a testament to his administration's unwavering commitment to enhancing the quality of life for Benue citizens. The Chief WASH UNICEF Nigeria, Jean Bevan, commended the effort of Benue State government in eradicating open defecation and creating a healthier environment for the people of Benue State, stating with new record 11 states have so far been declared open defecation free in Benue State. She appealed to Benue State government and other stakeholders to sustain their support with a view to ensuring that the remaining 12 local government areas are also eradicated of open defecation. The governor of Osun State, Ademola Adeleke, has approved the reduction in number of days public servants are required to work each week in a bid to lessen their transportation costs. The governor also announced an extension of palliative payment to public servants for the next 2 months. A statement issued by the governor's spokesperson, Olawale Rashid, and obtained in Osogbo indicated that the approval was outlined in a circular from the Office of the Head of Service. The statement added that this decision aligns with Adeleke's commitment to the well-being of workers and is a response to the current economic situation in the country. All accounting offices of ministries, departments and government agencies, including local governments, are being directed to comply. A fuel-laden tanker exploded on Shehu Shagari Way in obscure Maitama area of Abuja after colliding with the commercial bus. An ex-user posted that motorists abandoned their vehicles and fled for safety, leading to a gridlock along Nikon Hotel, MTN and Chicken House. The director of the FCT Fire Service, Amiola Adebayo, said a tanker owned by AP filling station overturned at the Maitama roundabout near the MTN office after colliding with the Sienna vehicle, which caused the fire. He noted that 2 occupants of the Sienna had been taken to hospital for treatment. Now we move to the international desk for more news.
Hello and welcome to Foreign News. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said the war with Russia could end sooner than some people think. Speaking to U.S. broadcaster, Zelensky also said that the victory plan he will present to U.S. President Joe Biden this week will capture Ukraine's allies to strengthen the Ukrainian army. Zelensky said the plan is not about negotiating with Russia, but rather it is a bridge to a diplomatic way out to stop the war. He added that Ukraine can only push Russian President Vladimir Putin to end the conflict if Kyiv is coming from a strong position. On Tuesday, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said Russia was being cautious about media reports of a Ukrainian plan and added that the conflict would only end when Russia's aims were achieved. The Lebanese Football Association has postponed all football matches in its affiliated domestic tournaments indefinitely in the wake of Israel's attacks in southern Lebanon and rising fears of an all-out war. At least 558 people, including 50 children, have been killed and 1,835 wounded in Israel's fierce bombardment of various parts of Lebanon, which began on Friday, according to the Lebanese Ministry of Health. Tens of thousands of people were forced from their homes, and the numbers continue to grow. According to the UN Refugee Agency, Lebanon is not scheduled to host any international fixtures in the coming months. It last hosted a game at home on December 28 when the men's national team played Jordan in a friendly match. Sweden has accused Iran of sending thousands of text messages calling for revenge attacks over the burning of the Quran. In a statement released on Tuesday, the Swedish Prosecution Authority said that Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps hacked into a local SMS operator last year and sent out about 15,000 text messages calling for retaliation after Islam's holy book was burned during protest. The text messages were sent out by a group calling itself the Anzu Team in August 2023, following a series of protests that featured attacks on the Quran. The protests approved by police were held under the Freedom of Speech Act, which is protected under the Swedish constitution. And still on foreign news, China's central bank has unveiled a major package of measures aimed at reviving the country's flagging economy. People's Bank of China Governor Pan Guosheng announced plans to lower borrowing costs and allow banks to increase their lending. Speaking at a rare news conference alongside officials from two other financial regulators, Pan said the central bank will cut the amount of cash banks have to hold in reserve, known as reserve requirement ratios. Pan added that another cut may be later in the year. Further measures aimed to boost China's crisis hit property market include cutting interest rates for existing mortgages and lowering minimum down payment on all types of homes to 15%. India has reported its first case with a new Mpox strain that has triggered a public health emergency alert by the World Health Organization. According to media reports, the strain has been detected in a 38-year-old man from the southern state of Kerala who returned from Dubai recently. On Tuesday, Health Ministry spokesperson Manisha Verma confirmed to newsmen that the Mpox case reported in Kerala district belonged to Clade 1. The patient is being treated in a hospital and the people he came in contact with are being traced and monitored. The district health officer said that about 29 friends and family members of the patient, along with 37 passengers on board his flight, were being monitored, but none of them had exhibited any symptoms so far. And finally, on foreign news, the Israeli jet on Tuesday conducted a targeted strike in Beirut. Earlier, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, in a recorded message, urged Lebanese civilians to heed their calls to evacuate ahead of its widening air campaign against Hezbollah. The warning comes after Israel unleashed its most widespread wave of airstrikes against hundreds of Hezbollah targets, killing 558 people, including 50 children and 94 women, and wounding 1,835 by Lebanese tallies. This marked the deadliest attack in Lebanon since 2006. And that is all we have on the foreign news.
Coming your way next, entertainment news.
Welcome to Entertainment News. My name is Rose Blossom Umwe. Well, here's the rest of the story for today. We'll be right back.
Nollywood actor Deyemi Okolanwo shows off his Hollywood Hills home. According to reports, the actor, who is set to make his debut in Hollywood, via his Instagram page shared a video of him giving a tour of the Hollywood Hills home he is currently staying in Los Angeles. The talented actor stated that it would have been so much cooler to pretend to be here wasn't so much a big deal, but only if people knew where he was coming from and how rough the road has been would they understand how big this is for him and his family. Fans react as TG Omori shares positive feedback on his health struggles. Popular music video director TG Omori recently shared some feedback on his health struggles with failed kidneys, and it was quite positive. He went on to share that pain has no power over him and that he hopes the designers he wears will cover all the scars he's gotten so far. In concluding his tweet, TG Omori sent a huge beam of hope to his supporters, stating that he will be back in action by 2025. TG Omori uplifting tweet had fans in awe as they commended him for being strong. Others were concerned over the fact that he's still active on social media despite the fact that he's battling with kidney failure. Nollywood actor Gabriel Afunlayo and his beautiful wife, Soye, are celebrating their first wedding anniversary in a joint post. His wife shared photos from their wedding as she noted how it had been 1 year of God's grace, blessings and favor. Expressing gratitude to God, she affirmed her love for her husband. The Nigerian singer and politician Banky Wellington, better known as Banky W, is returning to school for his masters. The singer and husband of actress Adesuwa Itomi shared the good news on his Instagram page with a photo of him, his wife, and their son. He revealed that he was returning to school for a master's degree in policy management at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. He disclosed that his new journey is for his family, faith, and finding purpose as he called for prayers.
And that'll be all on entertainment news. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Rose Blossom. Bye for now.
And that is all we are for you. We thank you so much for watching. My name is Uribami Salako. Goodbye.